And sometimes you can, especially a situation that made you mad, sometimes you can think about that situation and you start like physically feeling hot because you're just so mad about that thing. You ever retold a story and you start sweating? Those of you that are hopping on for the first time or new to the group, I am Takia Hansley, your reality shifter, and I help female business owners get rid of their limiting beliefs and mental gremlins so that you can actually achieve your biggest goals. Tonight, we're talking about finding your success in your journey by rewriting your story. Reframing. I touched on it already, when you reframe, okay, or restructure the way you see a situation, you can change the way you feel about it by changing the way you think about it. I use the acronym TEAR. Your thoughts determine your emotions. Your emotions determine your actions. Then your actions determine your reality. So if your thoughts are changed, if you think differently about a situation, you think differently about that past situation or that past relationship, then you'll start feeling differently about that situation. And because you feel differently, now moving forward, you're taking different actions. You move differently because it doesn't affect you the same way. And because you're moving differently, the actions that you're taking now are creating a new reality. They're creating a different tomorrow, right? So one way that you can reframe a past situation is to disassociate yourself from the situation. Not necessarily pulling yourself out of that situation like it never happened, but to look at the situation from the outside looking in. Okay, everything looks differently from the outside looking in. So if you look at your life like you're watching a movie, instead of actually being in the movie, because when you're in it, you feel all the emotions of it and you're just in it, right? And you're remembering that thing and it's triggering all types of emotions. And sometimes you can, especially a situation that made you mad, sometimes you can think about that situation and you start like physically feeling hot because you're just so mad about that thing. You ever retold a story and you start sweating because you're just so angry all over again? And it's like, what? And then this happened and this happened. And now somebody walks up random, totally unrelated, and you bite their head off. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I got caught up thinking about this old situation or what have you, right? So if you can remember that whole situation like it was a movie and pull yourself out of it, because when you're telling it that way and you're feeling it, you're in it. Like you are the star, like you are reliving that time frame. But if you can pull yourself out of it and just watch it, and the easiest way to do that is to think about how were you acting, to try to look at you and be like, was I really doing that? Did I like you're watching a movie, right? You just really pull yourself out and watch you. If you focus on watching you and not the people around you, that'll help you pull yourself out of the movie and put you in a situation where you're now disassociated and you're watching this event happen. Now you don't feel the feelings the same. Now, of course, sometimes we get caught up in movies and we feel a little bit of sadness, but it's more of a sympathetic type of sadness. Or maybe a little empathy too, but you don't feel like you're a part of it. You're just like, oh, I know how they feel. That was such a sad thing, right? So it's the same thing with your own life. If you look at your own life in that disassociated manner, then now you can look like, oh my God, that was terrible. I can't believe all that happened. That was just, oh, instead of getting so caught up and wrapped up in it. Because when you're feeding your emotions like that, you're drawing all of that energy back into your space. You're pulling all of that back into your energy. And you don't want to do that. You want to be disconnected from that energy, especially if it was a negative experience. You want to disconnect from that energy so that you can reevaluate the situation. Now you can look at it from different perspectives. Now you can make changes. You can move the pieces of the puzzle around. Okay, so look at your life and look at these different situations from that disassociated perspective. Look at it from a third person perspective instead of you living it in first person. And when you're doing that, now you get to reappraise the situation. You get to reevaluate what's actually going on, because when you're separate from it, you get to pull your emotions out of it and you're not making irrational, emotional decisions. Now you get to think about it logically and you get to see it from all sides. You get to see everybody's perspective. You don't even have to worry about how you feel about it. It's all about how you think about it. And then you let those thoughts distribute new feelings. And those new feelings are now going to allow you to move differently. Does that make sense? And finally, when you are dissociated from it and you get to see it from different perspectives, now you get to see where's the silver lining in this. Because remember, at all times, all things are working together for my good. So what was the good in this situation? Where did some good come out of this? What good was in a situation that I missed in the moment? And now, knowing what I know now, what good came out of it? You know, that whole, if I knew then what I know now. Well, you know now. So now you get to go back to then and focus on what you know now, the good that came out of that situation. And you get to manipulate the situation now so that you remember it in a way that benefits you. And I find it interesting that I use the word manipulate, because manipulate typically has a negative connotation. But in this situation, it is absolutely positive, because if you're going to manipulate the past to rewrite your story so that you can have a better future, go right ahead. Right? That is absolutely necessary. Once you've done your reframing, then you rewire your thought processes. Okay, you use this new information that you have pulled from the past or that you have created in the past to rewrite your thoughts and rewrite your beliefs. So dig into those thoughts. And why do I think this? And why do I think that? So what does that mean that I believe? Okay, what's the core belief behind that thought? When you can get to those core beliefs, that's when you get to completely change where you're going. Because now, not only do I think differently and I feel differently about this, but I actually believe differently. I believe in myself more now. I believe that money is everywhere. I believe that I'm in supportive relationships. Every relationship that I'm in is a supportive relationship. Like, you can't tell me nothing different. Even in situations where, even in relationships where I thought they weren't supporting me, I've been able to reframe those situations and pull out the silver lining where actually they only didn't support me the way I thought in the moment they should have supported me, but they actually were being supported. So yes, I'm always in supportive relationships. My friendships, my family relationships, my romantic relationships. I'm always in supportive relationships. That is a belief. That's a belief that will support you in a positive future, right? So now you get to support those those new beliefs with rewiring your thoughts. You rewire your thoughts with repetition and supporting details. So once you have those thoughts and you can go back into the past and start reframing different situations, what other situations are similar to that one where you can find more evidence that supports your new belief? You need three people, like just like a table. You need three legs, at least three legs to keep a table standing. You need at least three supporting beliefs to keep a thought standing, right? To change that belief, to make sure that that belief sticks. So one way that you can rewire the way you think is through mirror work, not just those surface level affirmations, but you can rewire your thinking with really talking to yourself. Like mirror work is standing in the mirror, not just repeating affirmations off a piece of paper, but having conversations with yourself and really talking yourself through the change. Okay, talking yourself through the process of becoming. So if you're on a journey to millionaire status, okay, standing in the mirror every morning, brushing your hair, saying, I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire. Okay. I hope you're going to be saying it 10,000 times. Otherwise, it's not going to stick because you're just saying words. And yes, words are powerful. Yes, words create your reality. Yes, words are, there's the power of life and death in your tongue. Yes. But as you're saying those words, each time you say it, your brain is saying, and that was a lie, right? So you're negating it before you even, by the time you even get it out your mouth, excuse me, your brain is like, yeah, no, it's not happening. No, no, you're not. You have $2.27 in your bank account. No. But mirror work is different from affirmations because now you're in the mirror like, yeah, my bank account is fluid. It fluctuates. So today it says $2.27. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. And I am completely capable of earning or just receiving $1 million. So many things can change in my life. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm worthy of $1 million. I'm a child of God. I um, everything happens. Everything around me is happening for me. Life is happening for me, not to me. But everything is happening for me, not to me. Like you're having this conversation, but yeah. So what? So what the bank account today says $2.27. That's just right now at this particular moment, or $2.37. That's this particular moment. But I have a mission and I have a purpose. And I know I've been put on this earth to carry out this purpose. And I know my purpose requires more than $2.37. And because my purpose requires more than $2.37, then I know that because I'm here to carry out this purpose, God is going to supply everything I need to carry out this purpose, which is more than $2.37. So here I am, Lord, I'm ready to receive. Prepare me and my bank account. So you're actually talking to yourself in a way that makes sense to you, right? What do we say? Make it make sense. Talk to yourself and make it make sense. If it doesn't make sense in that moment, you keep talking to yourself. Ask yourself questions. If you ask yourself enough questions, you are going to come up with the answers. If you want to make an extra $10,000 this year, then how can I make an extra $35 a day? What can I do to make an extra $35 a day? And yourself will automatically start thinking. You might not get that thought instantly, but by the end of the day, you're going to know. Your brain is going to start working to come up with the answer to the question. Instead of continuously telling yourself these statements, ask yourself questions. And your brain is programmed to answer questions. You have your own little, why do you think? Okay, side note. Now, Chat GPT and all these different AI platforms are out here. AI stands for artificial intelligence. You have real intelligence. Artificial intelligence, you ask it a question, it gives you an answer. Real intelligence, you ask you a question, you will give an answer, right? Artificial intelligence is based on how your brain works. All it's doing is connecting dots, connecting different bits of information. So that's what we like. Honor your brain in that way. Realize that your brain is built to answer your questions. So ask your brain more questions. Yes, mirror work, asking yourself questions, and finally challenging your fears. How do you rewire your programming? Challenge the things that you fear. If you're afraid of taking risks, start taking small risks. Realize that small risk didn't kill you and move on to bigger risks, right? Your arm didn't fall off, so now you get to move on to a bigger risk. I'm still safe. And at every level, just remind yourself, you're safe. It's okay. Your leg didn't fall off. You still have 10 fingers, 10 toes. Let's go. Moving on to the next thing. And the next thing. And now as you're progressing, I'm such a powerful being. Look at me killing it. I remember when I was afraid to do that. And then as you're doing this, as you're strengthening your beliefs and strengthening your being, you are now aligning with who you were already destined to be. Not even destined to be, but who you are. You're aligning with the God in you. Always remember that I am God in me. Like, God is in me. God lives in me, through me, and as me. So in that space, start claiming your dominion. Who are you on this earth? You are in charge of your life. You take responsibility for your life. You're in charge. I have a scripture to back that up tonight. Y'all didn't know y'all were coming to church, did you? Genesis. I'm looking it up so I can tell you directly exactly what it says. Genesis chapter 1.
I love it.
26 to 28. Verses 26 to 28. And it reads, y'all want me to put on my Bible verse? I mean my Bible voice. I'm gonna put on my Bible voice. No, I'm not. The Bible says, this is the NIV, New International Version. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Ma'ams, did that just hit you? Did it hit you right here? Has your perspective changed over the last few weeks of who you are and the dominion that you have, and recognizing that as a being created in the image of God, okay, in the likeness of God, that has the power to rule as God and have dominion on this plane, you are capable of doing all things. Jesus is your brother, child of God. Does child of God have a different meaning to you now? Like you, it's not just, oh, they called me everything but a child of God. No, not only are you a child of God, but you have to own being a child of God. What does life look like moving as a child of God, right? Like people look at princes and princesses and like, oh my gosh, they're so awesome. They're so amazing. They can do anything. They can have anything. Okay. Child of a man. Yes, you're child of a king, but yeah. But what happens when you switch your identity to child of God, right? Princes and princesses, they walk around with a completely different energy than common folk, okay? The energy of a prince or princess is an energy of entitlement, right? Again, another word that we associate with negativity. But royalty walks around with an energy of entitlement. If they say they want something, they expect to get it. Again, the other week we talked about archetypes, right? When will you step into your inherited, your God-given, your birthright archetype as a child of God? Like that's above royalty, don't you think? So at the very least, you can move in the queen archetype. You can make decisions from the energy of a queen archetype, at the very least, because you're a child of God. So now, as a child of God, you should have this energy of, what word did I just say? You should have this energy of entitlement. Okay, as someone that has dominion over in this realm, why would you walk around with an energy of lack? You're a child of God. Lack is non-existent. Do y'all, is that making sense, or was that a little over your head? Like,
No,
where's
it's making sense to me.
yeah? So where's your sense of entitlement? You have, not only do you have the power and dominion in this realm, but you have the power to change what you thought and change who you are and change who you are becoming by accepting and realigning with who you are. Okay. Not who other people tell you you are, because that's just their perception. Or yeah, that's just their perception, their perspective. That doesn't have anything to do with your truth, your reality. You determine your reality. Okay? So, questions, comments, concerns. I'm about 10 minutes over, but I'm here for your questions. So, guys, have an amazing evening on purpose, with purpose. And I will see you again next Wednesday. Same bat channel, same bat time. But in the meantime, as always, be incredible.